Hello and welcome to Week in Review on Trust TV, where we take a look at some of our top stories for the week. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us. We begin the review with the economy, as many Nigerians have expressed displeasure over the current economic situation in the country, which experts have attributed to poor economic policies and a high inflation rate. Now, the inflation rate, which has pushed the prices of commodities in the market extra high, made it difficult for some Nigerians to cope. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal takes a look at the feeding ratio of average Nigerian families and how they are coping with the economic hardship.
The ugly sight of masses toiling under excruciating economic conditions and the rate at which poverty has eaten deep into the country is not only frightening but also heartbreaking. Many Nigerians, according to observers, cannot afford 3 square meals a day. Statistics available, however, reveal that over 70 million Nigerians are unemployed and thus have taken a toll in household welfare, pushing them into poverty. The story is not different in the Federal Capital Territory, as prices of food items have gone up, making it difficult for an average Nigerian to feed.
If you enter the market right now, something you can buy before, you can buy it like 15 naira. Now they'll be telling you 300, 500 and all that. So it's very difficult for poor people to come and be buying. That is why there is crime rates everywhere. You see people stealing.
More worrisome is that some families that spoke with Trust Television News said they sometimes sent their children street hawking instead of going to school to be able to put something on the table.
No, we are on operation 101 now. Okay, because we have one in the morning, and that one in the morning will come from 11 or 11:30. By 12, you finish it up. Then from 12 till 7:30, you take the last one, and that will take you till the next morning again. When you wake up in the morning after brushing, you go out for a hustle again till 12 o'clock again. So that's why it's operation 101.
Food vendors also said prices of food commodities have gone up beyond the reach of the common man.
The market price is very, very high. The thing that you buy today, tomorrow when you go to the market, the price will change. Look at gari. We buy gari. Last week, I buy 23,000. Now, you can see that the woman that bring gari for me now, he said it's 25,000. One bag of gari.
Experts have attributed various causes of the current inflation rate in the country to import restriction, rising fuel prices, floods, among others. It is hoped that the federal government will come up with policies that can avert the current situation. Until then, life remains difficult for the masses. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the preservation of craft work is an important part of upholding a country's identity, origin and culture, as it serves as a mirror that reflects its cultural and historical richness, especially in Africa. Now, it is against this backdrop that Nigeria and Morocco are harnessing handcrafts for the economic benefit of both nations and also to strengthen bilateral relations between them. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
It's the first of its kind as Nigeria and the Kingdom of Morocco showcase their rich culture through an exhibition of handcrafted traditional dresses, bags, shoes, interior decorations, jewelry, artistic carpentry, and kitchen utensil, among others. This is a collaboration between the Sokoto Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture and the Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Services of Morocco to promote culture and trade for the mutual benefit of the economies of both nations.
We benefit the country in terms of internally generated revenue because we are promoting art and crafts. That is the basic of this, so that creativity, people who are doing things with hand, we will borrow from technology from Morocco so that we can enhance. Most of the clothes you see here, 95% are handmade.
In furtherance of the existing relationship between the two countries, the Kingdom of Morocco's ambassador to Nigeria and the Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Sokoto State, who spoke on behalf of Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, noted that the collaboration is timely as the rich cultural heritage of both regions is necessary for boosting internally generated revenues.
Nigeria and Morocco are also linked by centuries-old history, which means that the two countries share the same culture. This exhibition will allow the Nigerian public to discover the multiple facets of Moroccan crafts and culture.
Edo State in particular has been trading with Morocco via third parties. I listened to what the ambassador said, especially in leather goods. A lot of leather from Sokoto red goat, which is the best, as the experts say, in the world, finds its way through Kano to Morocco and to Europe. This kind of gathering should see how we can foster relationship that we can deal directly without the third parties, and also build on the existing mutually beneficial relationships.
This new collaboration, which comes after an earlier successful solar energy and fertilizer production agreement, seeks a closer working relationship between the Sokoto Caliphate and the Kingdom of Morocco in the areas of religion, education, and culture. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now to matters of security, where terrorists on Monday morning attacked Bugaje village of Jibia local government area of Katsina State, killing 5 and abducting several others. The terrorists also wounded many, including women and children, during the attack. The terrorists also burnt down several shops, looted foodstuff and dispossessed villagers of their monies as well as other valuables. An eyewitness told Trust TV in Katsina that the bandits, armed with dangerous weapons, arrived at Kwari village on over 200 motorcycles from different locations. Also during the week, Benue residents continued to react to the attack on Beji community by unknown invaders. Now the state has been under serious attacks in recent times by yet to be identified invaders threatening the peaceful coexistence of the state and the country at large. Trust TV correspondent reports.
The residents of Benue are worried that the security agencies are not doing enough to stop the killings that have made life unbearable in the state. Those who spoke to Trust TV said almost every day there are reported cases of attacks on farming communities. The latest was the killing of scores of people in Beji, in local government area of the state.
It's also disturbing the way the insecurity is turning out in Nigeria today. Every day people are being killed by unknown gunmen. But my problem is our security architecture in Nigeria. What are they doing? Because those people, they are not spirits. They came from somewhere, carried out the attacks, and go to somewhere.
The service chief, the security chiefs, they are not doing anything. We keep on hearing killing from one place to another, and nothing has been done. The perpetrators have yet to be punished. So to me, I see the government is yet to carry out its mandate. If you observe international communities, you hear about a particular minister resigning as a result of issues that are happening in the country.
Some of the residents said individual communities should form their security architecture to complement the federal government's efforts.
They should come together and set up security outfits in their localities. The federal government cannot be everywhere. We need to, at least in our own part, come together and then set up security outfits in our villages so that we can help, or so that we can complement what the federal government is doing. So it is very, very important for us to rise up against this kind of inhuman situation.
Recently, the Benue State Governor Samuel Otom instituted the local community volunteer guard to complement the role of the regular security agencies. But the question is, are these local guards equipped and trained to tackle such security issues in communities?
Security has been beefed up in many places in the Federal Capital Territory following alert within the week of a possible terror attack in some parts of the country, especially Abuja, the nation's capital. Now, the United Nations Embassy in Nigeria had raised the alert, warning Americans in the country to be cautious of their movement in response to what the embassy called elevated risk of terror attacks in Nigeria, specifically in Abuja. However, less than 48 hours, the embassy raised the alert. Security operatives from the Nigerian Air Force, Department of State Services, Nigeria Police Force, Nigerian Army, and the Nigeria Immigration Services have beefed up security in the nation's capital. Heavy deployment of security personnel at soft targets like entry points to the city, as well as churches, mosques, recreational centers, and of course business centers was quite visible. Soldiers were also in the early hours of Monday deployed near the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. Residents in the FCT, including Western diplomats, have been increasingly worried about insecurity after a mass jailbreak from the Kuje prison in July, a prison that is located in the outskirts of the city. Meanwhile, the federal government says Nigerians should stop spreading unverified news, but should be assured that all relevant agencies are on top of the security situation in the country. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, spoke on Wednesday while reacting to the second travel advisory issued by both the US and UK governments to their citizens in the country, insisting that Nigeria was safe. Now, he spoke on a day government officials explained to Nigerians what had been done to mitigate the massive flooding across the country. They spoke to newsmen at the State House Abuja after the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Kende Amodu reports.
24 hours after the Minister of Information had accused the governments of the US and the UK of spreading fake terror alerts, the US had upgraded its security advisory to a level 4, granting emergency services to its citizens. But the information minister says the advisories were not properly analyzed by Nigerians and is advising citizens both at home and abroad to stop demarcating their country.
Clickbaiting, which is you find a story which is not verified and you immediately share it. It can always cause panic. But I want to reassure both citizens, non-Nigerians, Nigerians living in this country, that the security agencies are on top of this matter. Of course, the terrorists would not stop to try to embarrass or intimidate government. But what I'm saying is that this country is safe.
The federal government, it seems, is on the defensive this Wednesday and has had to defend its response to the massive flooding that has occurred across the country.
But there is no technology on earth, none, that can tell you the extent of the flood. None whatsoever. You work on the basis of data that you have before. Now that these rains have come, that is what hydrology is all about. Now that we have had this rain, this is a record. And now we are resetting the clock.
We have commenced distribution of relief materials to affected states, and the Federal Ministry of Health has been requested by my ministry to interface with the state ministries to intervene in medical-related matters.
Is in every state. We have a controller for works, we have a controller for housing in every state. So it's not in every instance that you will probably see me or the PAMSEC or the Minister of State, because the work starts from the field.
In the final analysis, despite the back and forth, what is important is what is done to mitigate the emergency that has arisen from the crisis. The cabinet members are pleading with Nigerians to join hands with government at all levels, with all NGOs and the private sector, to find a lasting solution to the problem. From State House Abuja, Kende Amodu, Trust TV News.
You're watching Week in Review on Trust TV. Stay tuned for more stories after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Week in Review on Trust TV. Now, during the week, the land dispute between residents of Ngwankanu at Barakallahu in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State and the Nigeria Air Force continued to linger. The community wants government to intervene to bring the dispute to an end. Now, the residents had protested demolition of their houses and alleged molestation by the Nigerian Air Force at the community on Saturday. Bello Musa visited the community and filed in this report.
The dispute between the community and the Nigerian Air Force has been lingering for a long time. According to the residents, soldiers from the Nigerian Air Force at the weekend stormed the community and started demolishing their houses. Anjuma Adamu and other residents of the area speak on the incident. I was coming from the farm only to meet armed soldiers on reaching the community, demolishing houses. When they were leaving, our women stopped them, protesting against the demolition. All of a sudden, there was rancor and I was shot in the leg, so also my son. They went away with my 2 young people, male and female.
We want to see our children taken away by the soldiers back home. That's our pain. We are widows, we have children, and this is the only place we know. Our forefathers live here.
They pleaded with the authorities concerned to intervene for peace to reign. Our ancestors lived here, and we were born here too, so it's our ancestral land. Efforts to speak to Nigerian Air Force authorities at NAF Base Kaduna were not successful. Officials there said that they are not in the position to respond, as only headquarters in Abuja can speak on the matter. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And to politics now, where with 4 months to the 2023 general elections, INEC had reassured Nigerians that it is not going back on the bimodal voter registration accreditation system, also known as BVAS. And it's disclosed this at the quarterly consultative meeting held within the week with leaders of political parties in Abuja. Noel Samson was there.
The third consultative meeting between INEC and political party leaders was held at INEC's headquarters, Abuja, where the commission reassured all of its readiness for the 2023 general elections and also made known the dates of the off-cycle elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states.
9.5 million new voters have been added to the existing register of 84,004,084 voters. The preliminary register of voters in Nigeria now stands at 93,522,272. The display of the fiscal register will take place at the designated centers from Saturday 12th to Friday 25th November 20 in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. The 3 elections will now hold on Saturday 11th November 2022.
Conduct by political parties and the supporters was also addressed by the INEC chairman as campaign continues.
Last week, the Commission cautioned political parties, candidates and their supporters to eschew violence during the electioneering campaign. The statement was necessary against the background of clashes among supporters of different political parties, including allegations of denial of access to public facilities and the destruction of billboards and other outdoor campaign materials by act of thuggery. The campaigns have just begun. As party leaders, you should remain committed to peaceful electioneering.
Stakeholders at the meeting advised eligible voters to shun vote buying and violence before, during, and after the elections in order to be able to hold the leaders accountable. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And still talking politics, the candidate of the Labour Party for the office of President, Peter Obi, says it is insensitive for his party to engage in campaigns while some people's houses are under water as a result of recent floods in Nigeria. Now, Obi stated this in Bauchi State while interacting with support groups as part of his harmonization tour across Nigerian states. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has details.
The presidential candidate again challenged other political parties in the country to suspend their campaigns as part of sympathy for the affected communities who lost their loved ones and properties worth billions of naira to floods.
The flooding this year is worse than it was in 2012. Yes. 2012, we lost only about 300 something people. This year already we lost 600 plus. And more damages. It's far worse. Houses are underwater. Yes. So we felt it would be insensitive for us to campaign. Rather, what we say is to visit as many people, many states as possible. Yes.
He lamented that the federal government's effort in mitigating the issue of flooding in Nigeria is not enough and promised that he will address the situation if elected president.
First, I will do whatever is possible to mitigate against this by ensuring that we start a gradual dredging of River Niger and River Benue. If they are dredged and silted, they will be able to contain all this flood with their tributaries and will be more economical to the country. And even if the child were having problem, some water can be pushed into there. So we must find a solution.
Meanwhile, at the Emir's palace in Bauchi, the candidate sought for royal blessing and also visited Sheikh Dahiru Usman Bauchi at his residence for prayers to succeed in the next year's presidential election. However, the Emir Dr. Luwani Suleiman Adamu explained that politicians should note that traditional rulers are always neutral in Nigerian politics.
The evidence is clear that democracy is our reverse process for acquiring legitimacy and governance in our country. As we embark on another round of election, one major concern is that of the maintenance of peace, law, and order. As a stakeholder in the process, it is necessary that you provide leadership in maintaining law and order among your supporters, so that the integrity of the process is preserved.
Obi urged supporters to conduct themselves peacefully during campaigns. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Now, during the week under review, the Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Evelyn Anyadike, had ordered the federal government to restore Nnamdi Kanu to his status quo before June 19, 2021. In a ruling held on Wednesday on fundamental human rights and extraordinary rendition of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, she also ordered the government to pay 500 million naira as damages to him. The court, in its further rulings, issued an injunction restraining the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, from prosecuting Kanu, consequent upon his extraordinary rendition. Kanu had in March this year filed a suit through his special counsel, Aloy Ajimako, to enforce his fundamental rights stemming from what Ajimako had termed his extraordinary rendition from Kenya in June last year. In its judgment, the court dismissed the federal government's objections to its jurisdiction and upheld all the reliefs sought by Kanu. During the week, the Central Bank of Nigeria announced that President Muhammadu Buhari had approved the redesign of 3 currency denominations. The announcement was made during a press briefing in its Abuja headquarters. Chamunda Beng was there.
Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele has announced that the redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes would be in circulation from December 15th. The move, according to Emefiele, is to curb excess money in circulation. The CBN governor further stated that the Apex Bank's ability to efficiently handle currency management has been affected by certain challenges.
These challenges primarily include 1. Significant hoarding of banknotes by members of the public, with statistics showing that over 85% of currency in circulation are outside the vaults of our commercial banks. To be more specific, as at the end of September 2022, Available data at the CBN indicate that 2.73 trillion naira out of the 3.23 trillion naira currency in circulation was outside the vaults of commercial banks across the country and supposedly held by members of the public. Evidently, currency in circulation has more than doubled since 2015, rising from 1.46 trillion in December 2015 to 3.23 trillion as of September 2022.
According to the Apex Bank, the redesigning would help to address the insecurity bedeviling the nation, as the new notes would come with enhanced security features.
Also, in view of the prevailing level of security situation in the country, the CBN is convinced that the incidence of terrorism and kidnapping will be minimized, as access to large volume of money outside the banking system used as source of funds for ransom payments will begin to dry up.
Emefiele, who stated that existing notes would cease to be regarded as legal tender by January 31st, 2023, also noted that in line with the transition from old notes to new ones, bank charges for cash deposits have been suspended with immediate effect. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And with that, we've come to the end of Week in Review for this week. For more reviews, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.